Top Mono Ladies, my name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Mono was in My Hero Academia. So Mono is basically a Nomu whose name spelt reverse, like no mu is basically the no will be at the end instead of at the beginning. That's what he is, basically. So, but, whoops, sorry. Where is that? Where is that thing? Oh, here it is. That, and he got created from. So his, genetics thing, he has a bunch of quirks inside of him. Because of this man. So he has regeneration, he has evolution, he has, every quirk inside of him. So, yeah. But surprisingly, those quirks, actually with the evolution quirk, actually gave birth to a special powers of infinity and zero. Because evolution had so much of it, and yeah, then he starts he was sent with Toga, but the doctor forgot to put the obedience chip in him. So, yeah. And one of the infinity things that one of the quirks was to attract and absorb the quirk. So, yeah. But then Toga, did her little thing, take him out for a joyride, as but then the quirk doctor realized that he didn't put a obedience chip in him. So then Toga is now out there, but as his voice, or he walks up to her, pets her on the head instead of ripping her head off. Huh? Like most Nomus would rather do. But instead, and he used his power, so her entire body was standing still. As she was still on the phone, as he teleports away to the city thing, as he looks around, he sees a really hot girl. That hot girl is, yeah, is he's too embarrassed to like just walk up and ask her. But she was getting like, uh, or then he sees a bunch of group of gangs and walks up to her, and these as the bottles and was about to get thrown, as he comes down, as he says, "Be nice," as he just his voice destroys their eardrums. Or his one of his powers. So he actually he he caught all the beer bottles and tomatoes things, and he runs up, grabs the those people, and making them not move around. Yeah, and their memories were kind of fuzzying out, basically knocking them out. As he turns around, hmm, as he as she could sense, she literally could sense in the inside of him the because she actually gets that feeling of the when she saw him, instead of like, so she wants to like walk up to him, ask for his name thing, but he she looks at him, he or she thought he was like a human, because he looks more human than a like a Nomu. Yeah. Whoops. I did that again. Give me a moment. Okay. So the so then they walked, and she decided to keep it to herself. And when she got home, he went back his as he actually feels something inside of him. His heart starts beating for her. As she feels the same way about him. She couldn't like sleep because every time she sleeps, she thinks about it, and she starts blushing. So yeah. So then we're not in the My Hero Academia, not yet though. So yeah. And then then one day she actually fell, or so she, let's say she wanted to go to the ocean. As he was there, not stalking her, but he actually he was just sitting down in his like swimsuit thing, as he's just meditating or listening to some sounds of the water, because yeah, he other or he's like a as he's just relaxing, taking a deep breath, because it wasn't his. And then he got interrupted by the same girl that he saved. As she says, I'm so sorry. Hey, I did not see you down there. Are you okay? As he says, I'm okay. Yeah. As, yeah. So she tells him that, why do you come to this edge of town? Or, as he says, to be honest, and never actually seen the seas or ocean before. So it feels good to, huh? As she asks him, let's go swimming. Okay. As he gets up, he goes right to the water. As he knows how to swim. As he went so fast, uh, he could ended up in the other part of the world if he wanted to. So, but he's just like swimming around, relaxing, not like as she says, man, you're swimming so fast. How do you swim like that? The I as he knows that he's trying to. I swim a lot, so that's how I always swim. Hmm. Yeah, as he's making sure that doesn't look at him or looks at her, because he knows that the yeah he's not. He's just like how I am, like in right in the real world thing. If we met, I would have been looking away till I get better looking at you. Yeah. So that's what he is. Oh, there we go. Sorry. So yeah. So then, after they were done swimming, let's say she was living on her own. Own. I forgot to mention that. Let's say she lived by herself. as she decides to ask him to come to her house. As he does, or he, or so she invites him in, and she closes the door as she tells him in her like bikini thing that because in this what if the changing rooms aren't built yet. So yeah. So then she was like, I know. Of course, she says, I know that every time I see you, who and are you stalking me? No, it's just we both no. Or I usually go wherever I want. Okay. As he actually was truthful to her that he usually goes down to the mean to the mall on some occasions, and he basically goes on top of rooftops to just have some away from rest of you. As she's like, so you're just the person that's just always relaxed. Yeah. As she looks at him with that face, as she when we of course she says this when we first met the and thank you for saving my life, my way. As she's thanking him, but I know that you and I imagine her face on that. Yeah, and still in the beginning, as she ends up telling him that she wants to be with him. As she has that, like, heart things. I was gonna say the ball and chain kind of eyes. Like how the Looney Tunes owns was. You got that ball and chain look in her eyes thing. Yeah. So when he did, he says, sure. Sure. As they went on a date, and then after they dated, for like 3 days, or no, 3 weeks, they finally ended up getting married and having. They did the deed as she tells him that. Yeah. And then she became, or so now we go over to, or time skip, to the hospital where she was pregnant with, because and after they got married, or, or so she kind of knows what he is. He's, of course, as he tells her that the as she was kind of getting like suspicious of what he is. So he says, "You know, I would never lie to you. But I, of course, he says that with a straight face. I am the Nomu. Oh. Or I am, of course, I know that you know me as, or my actual name I go by is Mono. Who? But I'm, if you flip those two, like, parts around, as she could not believe he's actually the Nomu that everyone is actually scared of. But instead of her running away from him, or like divorce him, she loved him. No matter if he was a Nomu or a human or having, like, yeah. But she, as he thought he was gonna, or thought she was gonna, like, stand on the other side of a world, or the room, and pull out a pistol and, like, shoot him. But instead, she walks up to him, wraps his or her arms around him, and, yeah, pulled him to her chest as she says this. And that I really don't care about what you are or all that other stuff. Okay? So basically, their daughter, that's their daughter, is a part Nomu and part human, because her, yeah. So, yeah, basically her, because he had infinity powers and he created a new quirk for her. Her, that, yeah, that allows her to have regeneration. It's basically a quirk that is basically like a same power as the fusion of uh, okay, of the size girl, the Yinkel, mixed with mountain lady. I'm trying to think. Yeah. And yeah. So and she's also immortal, so no matter if she can never die, she can be poisoned. Because she has immunity to poison. And yeah. She doesn't want her or he doesn't want her little girl to end up dying from anything. So yeah. So then now we got into UA. Or My Hero Academia. And usually it's just a weird thing that I personally need. And so he, as she knows that usually no moons are created from the like villains, but she doesn't see him as a villain. She sees him as her husband. As she doesn't know that he actually has a powers of infinity and zero yet. So yeah. So their daughter is now at age of 15. I'm doing the time skip. So her daughter's at age of 15. And yeah. All these schoolboys, he really wanted her except for Zuko, and because he's embarrassed. And most of those girls wanted to ask him out, or asked her out. But yeah, to be like friends with them. Like, let's go to a movie. Let's go play games and all that stuff. So yeah. So then I'm skipping the internship, ear, ball throw, like all that stuff, and go right because it's similar to canon, but and I try to make it more accurate to like yeah. So she has like even sometimes so it's similar to the canon version, but she ends up having sorry, I'm thinking bigger breast size than like Momo's hers, huh? And her mom's hums put together. So yeah. So then so yeah. His full name is now I forgot. Sorry about that. I couldn't like find the images. But yeah, so yeah. So I was trying to make sure that her mom's age. She looks about like 15 or 45. I can never tell with them. So yeah, she acts so like yeah. The she ends up walking. Of course, yeah. So I'm skipping the USJ because or skipping all the and going right to All Might versus All for One arc, or should I say raid arc. And yeah, All for One was gonna use his Omega Beam at, or like the laser thing from his palm to kill All Might. But then luck would have it, Evan, the the Mono shows up as he says, "Huh, it's been a long time, All Might, or All for One." As he, or yeah, I remember now. The in, or yeah. So the let's say both of them, or last names are her names, or actually would be Yin and Yang, because that would be in, or actually, I'm gonna like think about it, but so yeah, I'm skipping all the way to yeah. So All for One says, you're the failed experiment, or you're a successful experiment, but the as All for One says that he's the one that was you escaped him, from us, huh? Because the good doctor didn't put obedience chip inside you. Yeah, man, I don't, I seen what you would do. Let me take over All Might. It's personal matters. Yeah, and the Mono already battles against Hero Killer Stain, and All for One actually versus All for One versus his creation of Mono, and end up lose the to Mono. So yeah, because Mono tells them that his they were kidnapped his daughter, and he's not a fan of when someone steals his daughter. So you know what he did? He he tear All for One to pieces, and he tells them that the name he'll yeah, because he says I never did like my creator anyway, so as he turns his head and tells All Might that. So it's good to get my as he's happy about it. As he says as this because yeah, once I became or when I was born like this, I really didn't have family or friends. But now, oh, I do. Yeah. So he tells his sister that, or tells his, actually his daughter to come back to the house. As she does, they couldn't believe that he they're, uh, as the next day, everyone, like all the students says, I couldn't believe that your father's a Nomu. That, uh, that's so flippin' awesome. As she says, yeah, my mother knows what to do in those situations because I know he's a Nomu, but he's still my father. And he really didn't like that guy anyway, so yeah. So then, yeah. So back at the Monos is, or, or back at, yeah, Monos is his house, or, or at her house, after their daughter left for school, she kind of did that same pose as she looks at her, like, father, or no, her husband, and tells her, or no, he tells him that she wants another kid. Do you mind? Of course, as he says, no, I don't actually mind at all. So they went into the bedroom and they did the deed again. And yeah, she likes it when he does that deed to her. And so yeah, the he created a new quirks for the their sons and daughters. So yeah, they're now they have a son, un, hun, but instead of being Rachel and like, come on now, he is basically looks like him, but on a whole nother level. Yeah. So yeah, being so they're, yeah. So then it's scary. But then Sir Night Eyes went over and tells Mono that if you really or you want to join the group, of course, yeah. So basically, yeah, the overhaul arc happened as she knows that he's the Nomu, so he could survive anything because since before her or after they told or after he tells her that what he has for the powers thing, she is, yeah, she's still in love with him, no matter how much power he has. So, yeah. Then yeah. As during when Overhaul went into his monster form, like the big thing, Mono became so serious. That's what he looked like after 5 seconds. And yeah, as he wasn't a failed experiment, he's successful. As he spends more time with his kids and his wife than dealing with pro heroes and all that stuff. So yeah. So then now, since after all that stuff, he became also a teacher. Her. And he also became a pro hero too. He even told Nezu that he doesn't want to make, or actually scratch that, about him telling Nezu, but he straight up tells All Might, how do you feel about me? Because I'm I'm the Nomu, so if you are wants to end up, can we go right ahead? Okay? As All Might, instead of like 100 or like Tokyo Smash thing, or American Smash, Nezu ended up, or no, All Might ended up, walks over, instead of like, wha-bam! He puts his hand on his shoulder and says, I know that, we all know that you're a Nomu. So, taking, and the feeling about you is like the, that because you were created from the All for One, plus the Quark Doctor created me, so, yeah. So he ended up, yeah. So then, yeah. So then, yeah. it goes crazy, but I'm not gonna go into it because it's just too crazy. So, yeah, he basically, it's basically like the each kid, like two of them, or one of them reached 20, but she looks like a 15-year-old, or that, because her body doesn't, like, age as, like, to be honest, her body doesn't age at all. She could be 100 years old and still look like 25-year-old. She could have been, like, but her, yeah. You know what she ends up getting married to? Who? To that guy right there. Not to her, don't worry. It's not, I'm not trying to go for the, like, girls with girls, boys with boys kind. Because I don't feel like it's appropriate for this generation to, or the next generation to, things that it's gonna be like boys with boys, girls with girls, etc., etc. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, and her brother that was born like way after, or no, like shortly after, got married to actually her. Yeah. So yeah. So now, this is the end of the video. Please leave a like, share, subscribe. And down in Ohio.